AI will destroy all current marketing strategies in about 18 months. You said this somewhere a few months, 3 months earlier. We're 3 months later. What's your view on that? And can you expand on what you meant and what's your take on it right now with Claude 4.5 just being released yesterday, GPT-5 coming on, we're seeing smarts coming, but we're not seeing the mega expansion that we had before. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are on that quote reflecting back.
So I believe it now more than ever. And the reason it is a very fundamental premise. You're moving from search and retrieve to solve my problem. Search and retrieve is you're trying to drive everybody. You go to Google, you're trying to get somebody to go to your website. You want them to search for their solution where they go look at their 40 blue links, or they go to your website and look at the entire navigation, and they're gonna maybe watch some videos and do a few things, and they're gonna try to solve their problem. Or search and retrieve. So that's how they're solving their problem. Now with AI, it's solve my problem instantaneously on demand. They're going to ask a question of an LLM. They're going to ask a question of your website, and it's going to solve the problem immediately. Marketing, at the end of the day, is trying to let somebody know, like, hey, you may have a problem, the awareness stage, and we want to kind of work you through to the consideration stage, down to the purchase stage. With AI and how much they're going to get to know you and everything about you, that's a solve my problem world. So we're literally right now, think of the amount of people using Perplexity, ChatGPT, and they're just typing something in. I'm going on vacation, solve my problem. I got a pain in my lower right-hand side of my back, solve my problem. They're not going to go to Google and read 25 blogs, 25 links. So all of marketing has been positioned to, let's rank high on Google. Let's have really good metadata that's going to hook somebody in. Let's make sure they're creating enough content where all of our content will be the first shown, and so on and so on and so on, to now it's just, how do we solve somebody's problem immediately? Like, what do we do? So all marketing plans that we have all historically done is going to be blown to smithereens, because now we have to completely change the way we're going at a customer. So that's why that line, I still believe that line probably more so today than ever, because more and more people, what is ChatGPT up to almost 1 billion users a week now? More and more people are going to that to solve their problem. There's only 8 billion people in the world. It's already at 1 billion. So that's the fastest growth any platform's ever seen. So when you factor all of that in, if you are marketing in the traditional fashion, and if you are telling your clients nothing's going to change or minimal changes, you're doing a great disservice, because the fundamental shifts of marketing is going to be the biggest fundamentals of shift in marketing that we've ever seen, even bigger than when the internet started. This will even be bigger.
My man, you're dropping some wisdom here and some very important things, shifts that are happening in the industry. I love how you said, now we're moving to a solve my problem state. I smiled and I said, I love it, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So I think that quote, that statement is amazing. I think nowadays, if I look at how I use ChatGPT, if I see my girlfriend using ChatGPT or people around me, it's always, on Google, we're just saying, hey, black shoes. And now we're asking, hey, where can I find a good pair of black shoes? Or we're asking, can you find me a few of them, right? Or I'm going on a trip to Hawaii. Can you get me a plan? Man, I went to Egypt 2 weeks ago and I said, hey, listen, I'm going to Egypt. Just deep research. Can you create a plan for me? Some restaurants, And he even suggested, do you want to do some recreational stuff because you forgot to ask them? Like, yes, thank you, my dear. I forgot about that. So it's an amazing personal assistant at that. But it's also an amazing, it's so great at problem solving with the material that you give it. And now we've given it the internet, we've given it tools, we've given it a lot of options. So I embrace the fact that we're moving to a solve my problem state. I see also Google being still number one when it comes to search, when it comes to questions. We're seeing ChatGPT coming along, but it's in the single digits percentage wise compared to Google. Do you dare to make another prediction for me and say, how does that look in 18 months from now in terms of ChatGPT and Google?
I mean, yeah, it's funny because I actually own Google stock and I won't sell it because I think Google, the company, people forget between Waymo, all of their AI, people forget Google's much more than advertising. The problem is that Google does about $55 billion a quarter and $45 billion is advertising. So it's like you're starting to see that gap. So I don't think in any question in 18 months time, I would believe that ChatGPT and Google are now rivaling each other. ChatGPT, OpenAI has rolled out a couple new products like Pulse, which you might have seen. If nobody's seen that, you can grab it on your phone and it gives you daily updates on what you talked about yesterday. It's a really cool product, but no question, that's exactly where ads are going to go. I mean, any advertiser right away when we saw Pulse, we're like, that's where ads are going. Number two is ChatGPT announced yesterday that you're not going to be able to do some shopping within it. So all of these investments that people are putting into ChatGPT, they got to start making money. And the advertisements is the first way they're going to go. I also think they're going to have models that are going to be $2,500 to $25,000 a month that anybody that uses ChatGPT as a power user like yourself, you would give them $2,500 on a bet or 25 grand if you're a company because of what it can do. But I do think that they're going to rival each other. I don't think there's any question. And I do believe ChatGPT in 18 months time may rival the iPhone on actually being people's operating system and personal device that they're using, because they are working aggressively on trying to put out some sort of product, wearable product that Sam Altman is, I'm saying what he said, they have targeted the iPhone. They are looking at the iPhone. He said, you think about that, you're like, that's the craziest thing I've ever thought. How would I live without my phone? I sat in boardrooms 25 years ago and you told everybody that you could grab your phone and take pictures and do this and do that. They were laughed out of rooms. What do you mean you're going to your phone? Like if you were to tell somebody you were going to record music, do all this, photos, videos on your phone in 1999, they would have thought you're from space. So, I think with just kind of rambling on, I think you're going to see them go neck and neck. And I do think ChatGPT will probably have some sort of wearable. It's going to become an operating device for people, which brings to another conversation we can have somewhere down the road about how marketing is even going to move to agent type thing. And you're going to kind of remove the humans from the equation. But yeah, Google has a major problem. And that problem is definitely ChatGPT. But I do think it's funny part is Google's AI product is really, really good. I just think that their rollout has been so bad. But man, Google makes a really good AI product.
You're seeing Google catch up, and I think there's a looming upcoming update with Gemini 3.0, and I hope they knock it out the park because their models are not that welcomed at many parties of developers and companies. A lot of people still rely on Claude. We see the move to ChatGPT. I want to just jump in on that shift that you're stating, right? So companies have been spending thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions on SEO, traditional SEO. We're seeing the rise of terms like, large language model optimization, LLMO. We're seeing answer engine optimization, AEO. We're seeing generative engine optimization, GEO. What's your thought on companies embracing ChatGPT more? Obviously, I'm assuming that's a yes, a hell yes. But the question is, how do you recommend them doing this? And do you have any hidden secrets, hidden sauce that you think could be beneficial to people?
It's not really hidden sauce. It's actually the number one thing I tell people every time. And then when I get people or clients or prospective clients or on a podcast, I'm like, what's the best piece of advice you can give somebody? Organize all your data. Get all of your data, all of your content, anything you've ever done with your business, whether it's offline or online, get it. You can call it a data lake. You can call it a data room. I don't care. You can just put it in Dropbox and organize it right. If you organize all that information, this is exactly where these LLMs and AI are going to plug into to learn about you. And without content, AI systems don't work. That is the oil that keeps them going. So too many companies want to jump into AI, and you got to take a step back and say, before you even get into your AI blueprint and where you wanted to go and bottlenecks, organize all of your processes, all of your marketing, all of your sales documents, all of your past customer, interactions. Put that all in a room. And then you literally could tie in ChatGPT into that right now. You could do that by connectors, and it can start talking to you about your company in an intelligent fashion. I know there's a fear of, what about security and all that? There's ways you can turn off things on the back end, as you know, to have ChatGPT not be crawling your content. Although I think much like Google, they're going to crawl no matter what. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about financial documents and personal records if it's medical or something like that. I'd be a little concerned about that. I don't know if I do that, but that's the best piece of advice I can give them is really start organizing that content, putting in there. The second thing over to the, you mentioned like there's 25 different terms now that people are trying to use from SEO, and I'm an SEO at heart. I've been doing SEO for well over 20 years. I'm going to be the first to say SEO is not going to exist anymore. It's not going to make sense anymore. It is not search engine optimization. Remember, search engine optimization, search and retrieve. That's not going to exist. Solve my problem. I think people have to really pay attention to that. But I also think, because we have a lot of clients we're trying to for, there's some indicators that make sense. Like, okay, now we know that they're showing up for this if we do this. But I'm going to be honest, Sean, I don't think anybody has this figured out. I know some people are like, oh, we have it all figured out. Really? I've been doing this a better part of well over 2 decades now. And some things work and some things don't work at all. I mean, you could put schema code on the site, write all FAQs on your site. That helps. But But I don't think there's a rhyme and reason right now. And if there is, I have not seen it. Now, there are some things you can do that will help a little bit. I have seen that. But the number one thing to do, organize your content, get it ready, and start hook it up to ChatGPT and start interacting with your data. And that's the number one way to start moving into AI if you're a small business.